Hey guys, it's Nat, and today I thought I'd share with you my favourite reads so far of 2021. So I haven't actually read that many books this year. I think I'm on the 17th book of this year. So yeah, quite low for me. Usually I'd probably be like 30, 40, 50 books into the year, but I've just been taking it really slow. It's been a busy year. Like I've had 2 jobs. I'm on my 2nd job, and I just had a lot of other things I've been focusing on. I've been focusing on health and like working out consistently and watching K-dramas and other TV shows and movies. So I'm still very happy because a lot of the books I've read I've actually been very impressed with or I really enjoyed. So it has been a successful reading year so far in terms of like the quality of books I've been reading. So yeah, I thought I'd share with you 6 books that I think so far are my top favourite reads of this year, but at the end of the year I will share with you like all my favourite books because there might be some new ones joining the list. So yeah, without further ado, let's just get on into the list. So the first book is actually, I think, the first book I finished in 2021, and that is How Not to Diet by Michael Greger. So this author is very popular. He wrote a book, How Not to Die, which is one of my favourite books ever. So when How Not to Diet came out, I was like, I'm definitely going to read this. It did take me a little while, but I did pick it up as an audiobook and it was fab. So basically in this book, Dr. Greger shares with us the optimal criteria that enables weight loss, while also telling you how these foods that are optimal for weight loss actually have a good impact on our health and like well-being. So yeah, as I mentioned before, I did listen to this as an audiobook and it was fabulous. It is over 24 hours, but I feel like I actually flew through it. It was never boring. It still had that great Dr. Greger humor whilst also being very informative. It not only looked at like the foods that help you lose weight, but it also looked at all the very popular diets like the Atkinson diet, juice cleanses, and Dr. Greger really looked at them objectively and told you why they might work for some people, whereas for other people they just make them crash and then go back to their previous weight or put on even more weight, which I really liked because he wasn't just like saying, oh yeah, juice cleanse is terrible. He actually said that for some people, like being on a week or a 2-week or even 3-day cleanse, it can help them kick back the horrible habits that they had before and like change the way they're eating. So I really liked that, and yeah, there was just so much information. I learned so much. So if you like listening or reading to books to do with health and well-being, highly recommend Dr. Greger and How Not to Diet. So the next book is The Black Witch by Laurie. So this one I actually remember when it came out, like some people loved it, but other people there was like a mixed opinion because of how something was tackled in the book, but I completely disagreed. Like I actually really enjoyed this book. So in it we follow Ellerin Gardner, who is a descendant or like the granddaughter of the Black Witch who fought in the Realm War, I think it was called, and she basically like defeated and let the Gardeners win, like help them win. So yeah, Ellerin has been brought up by her uncle in like a village with her brothers, and her dream is to attend university and become a apothecary. So yeah, once the opportunity arises, she ends up going to the same university as her brothers, where she finds out that the university also like accepts people of different species, because in this world there are different species. There's like werewolves and stuff like that. And yeah, her like, she's always been brought up to hate these people. Yeah, she finds out not all is as it seems. Also there's like darkness and evil looming on the horizon, and Ellerin finds out that in order to defeat this darkness and evil, she might have to become friends with the people she was brought up to hate in order to survive. I did a terrible job of summarizing the plot, but I am terrible at summarizing plots for you guys. But yeah, this book, I really enjoyed it because I feel like Ellerin had a really great character growth. I believe there's going to be 5 books in this series, and I still haven't continued with the series, but I feel like I will soon. hopefully. And yeah, I just can't wait to see Eleven grow a bit more. And I liked all the other side characters. Like, I loved seeing the different dynamics between the different species, and it was just like great seeing all these prejudices being tackled. I feel like the first book, it didn't tackle the prejudices and like the racism between interspecies. Well, there was racism, I don't know why I'm doing the quotes, but I feel like in the next series it's gonna be so much better. I really like the politics, and I don't know, it was just a really good book and it was very enjoyable. It's a 500-page novel, but it's such a quick read. I'm definitely going to continue with the series, and this is one of my favorite books I read in 2021. So the next one is a surprise read. So it is Pestilence by Thalassa. I think I butchered the author's name, sorry. This is a book, I think it's a series following different characters. It's like a romance dystopia, and in the first one we follow Pestilence, who came to Earth. So there's pestilence, war, famine, and death. So yeah, there's 4 horsemen, I'm just reading off my computer, riding their screaming steeds, racing to the corners of the world. 4 horsemen with the power to destroy all of humanity. They came to Earth and they came to end us all. So in Pestilence, we follow Sarah Burns, she is a firefighter, and basically the firefighters in this town, they heard that pestilence is coming, so they like draw strings, and the person, I think with the shortest string, like has to go and kill Pestilence, and of course it's Sarah. So yeah, she gets tasked with killing Pestilence. So once the angelic looking horseman arrives in town, dooming everyone she knows and loves to death, because that's what Pestilence does. He arrives and everyone just dies of a disease. She tries to shoot him. Of course, it doesn't work out because you can't kill something that's not truly human. So Pestilence gets very pissed off, and he ends up keeping Sarah as a prisoner to make her suffer. So it kind of sounds like it's a kind of like Stockholm syndrome kind of romance. I don't think that's the case with this one. It did really truly surprise me because it's not truly like my favorite book. It probably won't be in my top books of 2021 when I make that video at the end of the year, but I don't know, it just surprised me at how fast-paced it was, and the story was very interesting. Like, I loved seeing more of Pestilence because at first we just see him as someone that came to destroy everything we know. But like, the further you get into his story and you find out why he's been tasked by God to come down and destroy Earth, and like seeing him break down his barriers towards Sarah and like them just like developing feelings for one another, I just really love seeing that. Just like, once you see from someone else's perspective why they're doing something, it kind of makes sense in a way, but at the same time you still don't have to agree with it. I don't know, I just really liked that. And yeah, I'm not gonna continue with the series, I don't think, because I'm not that interested, but I'm still glad I picked it up. So the next one is of course a Chris Carter book from the Robert Hunter series. So I finally read Written in Blood, which I think came out in 2020. I'm pretty sure it did. But it is the 11th book in the Robert Hunter series, and in this one, when the killer writes down your name, it's a death sentence. So at the beginning of the book, we follow a pickpocketer. She is the master pickpocketer, Angela, and she ends up celebrating her like pickpocket adventures, I don't even know what to call them, in a bar where she meets or witnesses this man being so rude to this poor older gentleman. Like, the older gentleman did nothing. The man is so like just so rude that Angela is like, I'm gonna teach this guy a lesson, and she steals his briefcase. She thinks there might have been like something very valuable, like a laptop, like a cell phone, whatever, but what she ends up finding is none of that. It's something that the killer very much prizes so much, and it is this notebook in which she starts flicking through it and she wishes she hadn't. So of course, I love anything Chris Carter writes. Not all the books in the Robert Hunter series are my faves. Like, I think some I gave like 2 stars or 3 stars, but this one I really enjoyed. I listened to it as an audiobook, I borrowed from the library, and it just kept me at the edge of my seat. Like, I remember just always making time to listen to it in the day. Like, I had to find out what the hell was going on. Of course, we followed Robert Hunter and his partner Carlos Garcia, who are these amazing LAPD officers. Like, man, this book was just so good. I feel like I don't have to say too much. You just have to pick them up. Thrillers are best started or read without knowing very little about them. So yeah, glad I finally picked Written in Blood. So this next one is part of a standalone kind of series. So it is the relationship Pact by Adriana Locke. So I've actually read more books by Adriana Locke, so I was quite used to her writing style, but in this one we basically follow Larissa, who ends up needing someone to pretend to be her boyfriend, and she literally picks the first guy she sees or like talks to in a bar because she's desperate. And this was supposed to only be for like 5 minutes, but it ends up being for the whole trip that Hollis is on. So Hollis is the guy. And yeah, she didn't know anything about him, but all she knew is they had passion from the moment he put his hand on the back of her like back, you know, like when a guy does that. And yeah, that's all you need to know. It's a relationship pact, so it's a fake dating trope, and I really enjoyed it. So if you want to read, even though this is a standalone series, if you want to read the series in order, you would have to start off with the Revenge Pact by Madden-Mills, which I actually read last, and then you have the Romantic Pact, which I can't remember the author of, but I love that book as well. That one is a friends to lovers, and I think actually when I make my favorite books of 2021, that one is gonna make it on there because I even preferred that one to the Relationship Pact more. But why I decided to talk about the Relationship Pact is because I read the book first, and when I was making this list and making notes on it was the only book I had read, but I did end up binging this series. I might actually do like a series review on it. Let me know if you're interested. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one because in romance books, especially when there's no like fantasy element or anything, I have to love the characters, and Larissa and Hollis were just so like well fleshed out, and I loved learning about their problems, and like I deeply cared about them, and it was just, I never felt bored reading this book. And before it, I actually read like I think 2 romances, and I wasn't like super wowed by them. But like when I read this one, and I was only like, I think even like 5 or 10% in, actually I think from like the first chapter I read, I was like, finally, something I can read in a couple of days. And if you have Kindle Unlimited, this whole series is on there because I had Kindle Unlimited for like 2 months for free. So yeah, highly recommend it if you're looking for a quick, fun romance to read. And then the last book is one of my favorite non-fiction books I've read. It's been on my list for so long, and I finally just bit the bullet and just bought it. It's Atomic Habits by James Clear. So probably like, of course, we've heard of this book, but guys, this book is so good because James Clear shares with us the practical strategies that will teach you how to form good habits and break bad habits. And it also tells you that it's not about like the goals that you set. Of course, goals are good, but it's about the systems that you set. I really want to do like a video on habits and like things I've learned about habits and habit formation and breaking habits from this book, because there's just so much good information. Highly recommend this book. You will fly through it, learn so much. It's very like relevant, and I don't know, just the way James Clear writes and the examples he gives, it's like, yes, I'm a normal person, and this advice he's giving is for a normal person like me, so I can actually like do it. It's not about like a millionaire like habits. I don't like books like that. It's also a very actionable book in the sense that at the end of each chapter, or like during a chapter, James will like do tables and like the laws that he shares, like it comes at the end of the book in tables, so you can like screenshot it if you're reading on your iPad or phone, and it's just like so easy to implement this stuff into your life, like truly. It's probably gonna for now be like my number 1 book of 2021 I've read so far. So yeah, highly recommend it if you're looking for a non-fiction book. But yeah guys, that is it for my favorite reads so far of 2021. Let me know down below your favorite reads so far of this year, as I would love to know. And hopefully I'll see you in my next video, which shouldn't be a couple months down the line. Hopefully it'll be next week. Hold me accountable on Instagram. But yeah guys, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.